Alright guys, today we have something you're surely going to enjoy. Keep watching since we have compiled 10 of the worst blunders ever in MLB history. From players using their heads improperly to a fake out that confuses all the umpires. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 10. Knoblauch and the Umpire. We begin our list with something that is a well-known rule in the world of sports. You gotta play to the ref's whistle. Whether it's football, basketball, rugby, or baseball, you just gotta keep it pushing until the referee decides he's gonna intervene in whatever incident a player or team believes to be an interruptive incident. Well, looks like Knoblauch didn't get the memo.
Fryman squares to bunt and gets it down nicely. Martinez with the flip to first, safe.
Because rather than playing on to get Travis Fryman, the Braves infielder, thrown out of the game, he chose to argue with the ref because Fryman was considered to be safe despite the fact that the ball hit him in the back before he got to first base. As a result, Knoblauch didn't pass the ball along to his teammates, so Fryman and the rest of the Braves managed to ride on home. Not the best professional moment for Knoblauch, was it? Number 9. Manny Ramirez and the double cutoff. In a case of somebody doing their absolute most, we can see how Manny Ramirez made a huge gaffe by deciding to interrupt Johnny Damon's throw to the cutoff man.
To center field, hit well. Johnny Damon heading back to the wall, can't get it.
Apparently he'd rather cut off the cutoff. Unfortunately, this unadvisable decision will cost both him and his team, as this allowed his opponent, David Newhan of the Baltimore Orioles, to score an in-the-park home run. We think going forward, Mr. Ramirez decided to keep his plays simple. Number 8. The strikeout that never happened. A strikeout that never happened? How is that possible? Well, when the Los Angeles Angels took on the Chicago White Sox, Kelvin Escobar, their starting pitcher, got A.G. Pierzynski, the catcher for the White Sox, to swing a fantastic changeup low in the zone, something that should have brought that inning to an end.
Escobar, another strikeout. Pierzynski is going down to first.
However, despite what everybody expected, the umpire decided not to give the call despite the ball being in the dirt. Understandably, the Angels manager was enraged by this decision. Even worse, the White Sox went on to win this game by a slim margin of 2-1 before taking the entire series in the next 4 days.
The White Sox have won, and this only begins what will be an argument.
Something that must have enraged the team and their fans alike. Number 7. Todd Helton. What can we say about this blunder apart from the fact that Todd Helton fooled us all? During the game between the Colorado Rockies and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Rockies' third baseman Jonathan Herrera was going along with the game when he made an amazing diving play to claim Jerry Hairston Jr.'s ground ball. Unfortunately, he failed to throw the ball accurately to Helton, who was manning the first base, which was being quickly approached by Hairston Jr. However, fear not, because the experienced veteran had the play covered.
End of July, so we spent 3 weeks with nothing to do, couldn't play yet for the Rockies.
Rather than acting erratically to save the situation, the first baseman simply positioned himself to look like he was manning his base properly while catching a normal throw. Unbelievably, this worked well enough to fool the umpires, who believed he actually had his foot on the bag. He wasn't even close. Despite the ingenuity of this move, it went on to mar the Rockies' win over the Dodgers with controversy. What a terrible call by the umpires. Number 6. Babe Ruth ain't no thief. Anybody who knows anything about the great Bambino would know that Babe's life and career was filled with controversial moments. From punching an umpire to his rampant womanizing, Babe led a turbulent life on and off the field. However, one thing that Babe Ruth wasn't was a thief, even on the field. For example, during Game 7 of the 1926 World Series against the Cardinals, Ruth must have felt compelled to do something because his Yankees were currently losing 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning, and he had just been walked by Pete Alexander, the Cardinals pitcher. Although the Yankees were presented with a chance to draw level with the Cardinals thanks to Bob Musial, the Yankees' cleanup hitter, Ruth messed it all up for the Yankees when he tried to steal second base. Well, I guess even the greats can make embarrassing mistakes. Just another one of many for the beloved Babe. Number 5. Ruben Rivera's shocking base run. Although he isn't as famous or as legendary as the subject of our last entry on the list or his cousin, Mariano Rivera, the legendary closer, Ruben Rivera is still well known, although his notoriety comes under troublesome circumstances. His story developed during 2003, when he represented the San Francisco Giants in a game versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Rivera made the mistake of running past second base before deciding to retreat. He may have been able to make it to third base, but unfortunately he was thrown out after trying to make it all the way home. The entire affair was confusing yet hilarious to those watching. Even the fans of Giants were left scratching their heads in confusion. Pretty much the worst base running in the history of the game. Number 4. How using your head goes wrong. Another famous player who makes it onto this list of blunders in the game is Jose Canseco, who is the only person we've probably seen fail so hilariously despite using his head. This occurred when the Cleveland Indians took on the Texas Rangers back in the 90s. Following a ferocious pitch, Carlos Martinez smashed the ball deep into the right field. As the only man on deck, Canseco tried to prevent the ball from reaching the stands, but his attempt failed hilariously when he headed the ball over the fence like a football player. Even Cristiano Ronaldo would be jealous of this header, as he gave his opponents a home run. Even Canseco couldn't help but laugh at this hilarious mistake. Number 3. Another Javi Baez incident. We get to our podium positions by discussing one of the many mistakes made by Javi Baez. After all, he isn't called El Mago or the Magician for nothing. Whether it's hurling the ball at his teammates inaccurately or wildly missing a pitch, you know Baez is always up to something. This time, however, he managed to involve Will Craig, the former Pittsburgh Pirate first baseman, into his shenanigans.
Baez hits it on the ground to third. Gonzalez. This is so good.
Just as he was about to tag Baez out during a game against the Cubs, he failed to do so. Instead, he chased Baez down the baseline, and even then he failed to tag the man out. Rather than doing that, he decided to throw the ball to his catcher, thereby unleashing a round of unnecessary confusion. This allowed Baez to reach second base, while a run was scored.
Wow, you gotta be kidding me! You've gotta be kidding me! They stole a run!
Even Craig had to admit that he didn't know what happened. What a mess. Number 2. Bill Buckner. At number 2, we have one of the most infamous blunders in MLB history. Everybody knows about the 1986 World Series when the New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox were tied in the 10th inning of Game 6. In this tense moment, Mets batter Mookie Wilson grounded a ball to first base.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag!
Rather than taking a hold of the ball, Bill Buckner, the Red Sox first baseman, fumbled the ball by failing to catch the ball before haplessly trying to catch the ball as it rolled through his legs. He could only watch helplessly as Ray Knight went on to win the game for the Mets. This would be a telling moment in the series because not only did this gaffe force the Red Sox to take on the Mets in Game 7, the Red Sox would eventually lose the tie to the Mets as well. No love for Butterfingers, as his life would never be the same as the Red Sox fans harassed him for many years to come. Such is the dark side of sports. Number 1. Absent-minded umpire. A little more than 10 years ago in 2010, the Detroit Tigers took on the Cleveland Indians. In the 9th inning, the pitcher for the Tigers, Armando Galarraga, was 1 out from having a perfect game against the Cleveland Indians. In the next play, however, Jason Donald, the Indian shortstop, made contact with the Tigers' pitch.
Ground ball, right side. Cabrera will cut it off. Galarraga covers. He's out. No, he's safe.
Galarraga actually made it there before Donald, thereby making Donald out. However, the Tigers would learn that the umpire, a certain Jim Joyce, had declared Donald safe. This was unbelievable to everybody else because it was clear that Galarraga had made it to the base first. This gaffe by Jim Joyce ruins Galarraga's perfect game, and unsurprisingly, Jim Joyce was made to feel the brunt of the fans' ire in the aftermath. Even Joyce himself had to admit that he couldn't forgive himself for such a terrible error after going back to watch the replay. He was so sorry for what he did, he personally offered the young pitcher an apology in person. Fair enough, everyone is allowed to make mistakes. It's what you do to make up for it that matters.